Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the show. I've got a really important show for you here today, guys. I'm going to be giving you my key adjustments for this coming week in fantasy. Now, I do this video every week, and I normally do it on Saturday, but what I've come to notice is that when I do the video on Saturday, not everybody has enough time to view it before adjusting their roster for the full slate of games on Sunday. So I wanted to start doing it early in the week so more people have time to see the video and really get their roster adjusted and get their optimal lineup on the field for the coming week. So I'm going to go ahead and be giving you guys my key adjustments. But real quick, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel, guys. I really do appreciate you watching my videos and tuning in. If you find yourself coming into my channel and you find the information helpful, please do subscribe to the channel. It is going to help my channel tremendously and help me grow. So without any further ado, I'm going to get right into my key adjustments for the coming week. So the first one on my list is that if you have these following players and they haven't worked their way into your everyday starting lineup, you need to go ahead and make sure that you have these guys on the field every single week, okay? Travis Etienne, Tyler Lockett, Jacoby Myers, Amari Cooper, and Chris Godwin, okay? These five guys need to be everyday starters at this point. A lot of these guys had a really good week this past week. Some of them did just okay. But going forward here, these guys, based on the role they have on their offense, and, kind of the direction that they're trending, these guys absolutely need to be on the field for you on an every week basis. They need to be set it and forget it starters for the rest of the season. So make sure that you have these guys in your starting lineup every week going forward. Next on my list is a few defensive streaming options. Now this week, there are a lot of really good fantasy defenses that they just have really tough matchups. And as we know, when it comes to defense, we want to play the matchups in most situations. So I have three really good streaming options for you guys, okay? The Minnesota Vikings against Washington, the Bengals against Carolina, and the Chiefs against Tennessee. These three defenses they just have absolutely smash matchups this week. I love them going into the week. I think they're some of the best defensive options on the week, even if your starting defense has an okay matchup. But if your starting defense has a tough matchup and you really feel like you don't want to start them against the offense that they're playing against, these three defenses can provide you awesome upside for the coming week in fantasy and potentially win you your week. So make sure to stream one of these three defenses if you're looking for a defensive streaming option. Next on my list is you need to go ahead and buy low on Jamar Chase, Darren Waller, Chris Olave, George Pickens, Michael Carter, Gabe Davis, and Leonard Fournette, okay? All of these guys are great buy lows right now. Now, I want to be very clear on Jamar Chase. When it comes to buying low on Jamar Chase, I talked about this in my last video that I made. You really only want to be buying low on Jamar Chase if you're 5-3 or better and you're stashing him for the fantasy playoffs. If you're 4-4 or worse, you really need to be focused on players that are going to help you immediately. But if you're 5-3 or better and you think you have a really good chance to make the playoffs and you have the luxury of stashing players for the fantasy playoffs that are going to be league winners later, Jamar Chase is hands down the best player you could possibly stash on your bench. So try to buy low on Jamar Chase if you have a winning record. Darren Waller, I think, is still going to have a really big second half of the season. He did okay in the first 3 weeks, and then, he started to be a little bit inconsistent. Then he got injured, everything like that. But Darren Waller is still going to be great from a season-long standpoint. The Raiders need a spark, so they're going to start force-feeding the ball to their two best pass catchers. Darren Waller is the next best pass catcher on the team after Devontae Adams. So I love Darren Waller in the second half of the season, and he's a great buy low right now. Chris Olave is coming off a bust week, so you might want to buy low on him. George Pickens literally just put up a goose egg. But I wouldn't worry about it. He's still the most talented wide receiver in the wide receiver room in Pittsburgh, so I would try to buy low on him. Michael Carter Jr. saw 7 targets in this past game. That's a very good sign. I like to see the target share up from Michael Carter. Now that Breece Hall is out, he's going to start being an elite pass-catching back once again now that there's no more Breece Hall. So go ahead and buy low on Michael Carter. Gabe Davis is coming off a bust week, but we know that this guy has one of the highest weekly ceilings in fantasy of any wide receiver due to being a deep threat in a very high-powered offense. So I love him as a buy low right now. And go ahead and buy low on Leonard Fournette. I know he struggled the past few weeks, but you got to figure a Tom Brady-led offense will turn things around at some point. And as the offense starts to turn things around, Leonard Fournette will have the touchdown upside that we know he has. And, I still think he's going to be really good for the second half. So go ahead and buy low on Leonard Fournette. Next on my list is, guys, it is time now to go ahead and go over to your waiver wire and pick up Deshaun Watson, okay? Deshaun Watson is only rostered in 17% of ESPN leagues right now. And this just blows my mind. It blows my mind that people are not stashing Deshaun Watson on their bench. But we don't want to wait till the last second, guys. If we wait until the week before he comes back from his suspension, a lot more people are going to have scooped him up by then. But look, he's returned to practice. He's back with the team. and he's going to be back in week 11. We're not too far away from week 11. We're already coming into week 9. So go ahead and go over to your waiver wire, pick up Deshaun Watson, and stash him on your bench. He could be one of the biggest league winners for the fantasy playoffs. It is imperative that you do this right away. Next and final thing on my list is I want you guys to consider selling high on Tony Pollard. Now, I want to be very clear on what I mean by this. Tony Pollard is one of the most talented running backs in the NFL. I talked about him all offseason. I told people to fade Ezekiel Elliott early, draft Tony Pollard. So I'm huge on Tony Pollard. I love the guy. I think he has incredible talent. I think he's one of the top 5 most talented running backs in the NFL. But what we do know is this. The Cowboys are still paying Ezekiel Elliott a ton of money. And the minute that Ezekiel Elliott comes back, he is going to still command significant workload in this offense. So, when Ezekiel Elliott comes back, he's going to make it to where Tony Pollard is still only getting 10 to 12 carries a week, only 3 to 4 targets out of the backfield at the most. So, as stupid as it is, with the elite running back that we have in Tony Pollard, he is still just going to be a change of pace back the minute that Zeke comes back because of the way that the Cowboys decide to run their offense. They're very stubborn. They refuse to make him the lead workhorse back like he very well should be. But the fact of the matter is he's still going to be a change of pace back when Zeke comes back, as stupid as it is. So what I want you guys to do is consider selling high on him. Now, I want to be very clear that you need to get a really, really good player for Tony Pollard, or else you should just hold on to him and play him at your flex for the rest of the season, because even when Zeke comes back, he's still going to be a very good flex. But if you could get one of the following players for Tony Pollard, I would go ahead and sell high on him for one of these players right now. Josh Jacobs, Chris Olave, Mark Andrews, Chris Godwin, and Kenneth Walker. These 5 guys are coming off weeks where they really didn't do very well, okay? And so there might be some players in your league that are willing to sell these guys right now. And the massive game that we just saw Tony Pollard have is going to make it to where a lot of people will just chase the box score. They'll look and see that Tony Pollard had 130 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns and, 32 fantasy points or 33 fantasy points. And they're just going to chase the box score, and, they'll probably accept the trade because we know that people kind of chase box scores a lot of times in fantasy. So if Tony Pollard is on your team and he went off for you this week, and you have the opportunity to sell high on him, I recommend doing it, but only if you get a really, really good player, more specifically Josh Jacobs, Chris Olave, Mark Andrews, Chris Godwin, or Kenneth Walker. So if you could get one of those guys for Tony Pollard, I would sell high on him right now. If not, hold on to him and just play him at your flex. He's still going to be good. All right, guys, catch you later.